Well, I'm Siti Crook, and I'm the other half of the Energy Efficient Homes team. And we've been doing this now since the 80s when Dennis said, I'm going to build a house and I'm going to make it energy efficient. And I went, okay. So I'm more of the financial person in the sense that we sort of divide up who does what so that we don't overlap. And I do a lot of research, and our daughter's here tonight, Pani, who's also part of the Energy Efficient Homes team. And one of the things that we started doing a while ago, I said, you know what, you know these foreclosures that people are talking about right now? You know how they keep saying that the foreclosures are a result of the mortgagings, of subprime? Well, I think that it's a lot more to do with the cost of energy. You know, specifically in certain areas of the country right now, your heating fuel is just astronomical. I mean, some people are looking at $1 a gallon more, and that can really, really add to the cost of your monthly bills. And we often talk about how sometimes people actually have two mortgages they're paying. They have a mortgage that they pay to the mortgage company, and then they have the mortgage that they pay to the utility company. And we have this little story that Pani and I did an article on. It's, you know, about robbing Peter to pay Paul, and Paul comes home before Peter gets there. And it's like, you pay your mortgage, but then your utility bill comes in and you can't pay that, so you don't pay it. Well, you can go for so long until the utility company says, ha, I can turn it off now because the winter is now over. So now you have a big bill, and you don't have your utility on, so now you pay your utility bill. And you can't not pay your utility bill consistently every month, because if you break your agreement, then they turn the utility off. They'll turn, you know, the electric off, or they'll turn the gas off. So you end up paying that, and it only takes 3 missed mortgage payments to find yourself into foreclosure. And so I really do believe that what we're looking at in the foreclosures right now, I've written an article about that is on the internet, and hopefully will be published in a newspaper shortly. But the bottom line is that we have a crisis, and it's really not just about the subprime mortgage rates. And I know that from the search results that I get on our websites when we look, how many people are looking into the foreclosure problem, looking into energy efficiency, and it rings so true because they know that they can't pay both bills a lot of the times. So that's one thing. Another difficulty that people are facing, and I think you may have heard about that, some of us have lobbied in Harrisburg, has to do with the rate caps. And for those of us who understand a little bit about the rate caps, it has to do with electricity, has to do with the fact that whatever was put in place years ago that kept the price for generation, which is the actual production of the electricity in place, are coming off across the nation. And again, Pani's another one that gets to do all this research, and she's come across a lot of the northeastern states, a lot of the heavily populated states. Those areas are losing their price controls, and rates like in Maryland went up 70% in other areas. So it's nothing new, but it's not like people really know about it. It's not like somebody's saying, oh, guess what, in another year we're going to have bigger electric bills. So it's going to hit people. The problem is that when these things do occur, there are situations within the government, such as if you are an investor and you own an investment property and you have tenants who have not paid their utility bill, and you think, well, you know what, I'm just going to let my tenants pay the utility bill because, hey, you know, if they want to open the windows and let the heat out the windows, great, that's on them. The thing is that in the state of Pennsylvania, and I don't know nationwide right now, but in the state of Pennsylvania, there's basically a utility lien law, which says that if the utility bill is not paid, that property can be liened. And it's usually a municipal lien, and it's a quiet lien. So that if your tenant moves out and they have not paid because they can't afford to pay the utility bill, and let's say it's the electric bill, what will happen is that bill goes, the notices go to the recipient, you know, the person who had the bill in their name, and you don't know. And you could go and you could maybe be sitting at the finance table waiting to refinance your property to find that there's a municipal lien sitting on the property that you didn't know about. And that's in place in the state of Pennsylvania right now. See, I didn't bring my notes.
You didn't bring your notes?
I didn't bring my notes, but there was one other thing. The principal interest taxes and insurance. For those of you who understand the mortgaging process, you have certain things that the mortgage industry has put into place, and that's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and that's what is known as the front end. You have a $100,000 a year income, which I'm just pulling out, then 28% of that can go towards your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And generally speaking, that's how it's been classically for, God, I don't even know, at least since we started building back in the 80s. Now, the back end is what they call your cars and your whatever loans that you have. And that's usually 32, maybe 38% stretched out. So that would be $38,000 totally. The reason I'm saying this is that right now Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are, I believe, making moves through the industry to change the way these front ends are qualified. Instead of it just being PITI, it's going to be PITIE, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and energy. And when that energy bill gets added to the front end, you're going to have less people being able to qualify for a home that's not energy efficient. And we're seeing it happening right now. It's not really publicly known, but credit is really tightening up, and the mortgage industry is tightening up, and a countrywide mortgage who just got bailed out basically has now entered a line item for energy efficiency in their processing for underwriting. So if your home is energy efficient, they're going to qualify you a certain way. If your home is not energy efficient, the person is coming in to buy it, if they're marginal, and a lot of people buy up to the utmost, it's like, okay, we're going to buy a house, and it's like, okay, how much can we buy? Well, what's going to happen if the home is not rated and is not energy efficient? Then they will come up with a number, and they'll assign that number that they'll put in the front end, so that if you have a large utility applied to the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and energy, that means that you're either going to have to come up with more money for the house as a down payment, or the seller is going to have to lower the price of the house so that the person can afford it, or they're going to have to look for another buyer.
Can I ask you a question? Who rates a house, and how is it rated?
Well, okay, we do we do visual audits, and there's HERS rating, and I'm going to let him